What's up everybody? Before I get into the video, I just want to say thank you all for 1,000 subscribers. There's been a ton of support from a lot of you lately, and I just wanted to say I really appreciate it. Now in my last video, a lot of you commented that you wanted to see a routine video, and this is it. This routine hits basically everything, and it'll definitely help you all improve very efficiently. Starting with the warm-up, the first thing you should be doing once you get on is free building. A lot of players say that you should free build for hours at a time, but I think you should free build until your hands and fingers are fully warmed up. The main reason is because when you're free building, you want to be pushing yourself as much as you can with builds and edits, and doing that can cause unwanted stress on your hands and lead to a poor and painful day. The next thing you should be warming up is your aim. And here I'm in Gabriel's practice map once again, and I like to start in 1v1 aim duel to get things going. Personally, as you can see on screen, I like to turn instant reload off because I don't want to use shotguns only, and I like to raise the health to 6,000. Right here, your goal should be to rack up the highest damage streak that you can, and be sure to use different weapons when doing this, and try to mimic how you would move and track in a real 50-50 fight. Next is this low ground peak practice shot, and the closer you are to this floor, the tougher the shot will be. So I challenge you all to get as close to that floor as possible. Now we have side jump shots, and this is another shot that you can go for in game, so practicing this is beneficial. Make sure you don't hit your head on the floor while trying to jump. Also, the challenge for this is to go on a minimum 10 kill streak, 15 if you're really trying to push yourself. Another scenario that I think is helpful is glider tracking practice. And here, you simply just need to work on getting as much damage on the bots as possible. Remember, in game, you're not always going to get the kill, so don't beat yourself up if you're not fully getting the elimination. Just get as much damage as you can. I know this might seem like a lot already, but each of these scenarios has its own benefit, and if you stick through it, you'll see a huge improvement in your aim. Now we're in the tracking section of this map, where you're practicing your tracking on the bots in each of the scenarios. What I like to try to do with this one is eliminate the bot before it bounces back to the other side, and it really can be a challenge, so I want you all to try it. To the right, it's the same thing except the bots are simulating someone running on the ground at different distances. The challenge for this scenario is to eliminate all 3 bots before reaching the other side, but don't wait for them to turn around. Here is a vertical tracking scenario where you're just trying to eliminate the bots before they hit the ground. This is also a good place to practice your hipfire aim. Now that your aim is warmed up, we should be moving on to mechanics practice. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is the best map for training your mechanics that I've ever played. Here you can see the scenario and a visual representation of how it should be played before you walk in. I'll run through a couple, but for the rest I'll just show the preview because playing through all of them would make the video too long. And here are the rest of them. And all of these scenarios are situations you'll find yourself in real games. So be sure to practice these and practice them thoroughly. Now for my favorite part of my favorite practice map, we have the piece control on moving bots. I'll run through the first one so you can get an idea of how it works, but afterwards I'll be showing the previews for the rest of them once again. If there's one thing that I recommend for this map, it's definitely this. And also, like I've said before, even up until now, I have not seen another map that has this type of practice. This is still the same section, But this part is the same idea as before, but it randomizes which way the bot moves, giving you a versatile way of practicing your piece control. Doing this is also just a good way to have fun while you practice. Now these next two practices are helpful, but if you don't want to do these every day, that's fine. Just try to do these a couple times a week. But as you can see, we have phasing practice. And here, the walls are automatically being held, so if you try to get through at the wrong time, it just won't work. And your job is to phase into this box, whether it's by using a ramp, pickaxe, or your shotgun. There's also a section with walls only, where you can more repeatedly phase through. There's also editing practice, where you should be focusing on having good crosshair placement and being as consistent as possible with your edits. Now if you're more on the beginner side of getting good at this game, I definitely recommend doing this every day, but if you're comfortable with editing already, then you don't have to do this as much. Moving on to what I call all-in-one practice, which is good right before hopping into Battle Royale, we have Martel's Turtle Fights. Now I call it an all-in-one practice because it works on building, editing, aim, piece, and everything else that has to do with fighting. And it's great because you're going against all real players with all different levels of skill. When in here, your only objective is to fight, so take as many fights as possible and try to get as many kills as possible. But try to play it close to how you would in game. Really work on your mechanics. You can also target working on specific things like pre-fires or peak shots. And also, it's good to just have fun in this mode and try to go for a clip every once in a while. The next all-in-one practice is Cup in-game solos. Now this is another one that you don't have to do every day, but it's good to do before tournaments and between scrims if you have the time. It's pretty new and it's a really good mode, but this is the closest thing you can get to scrims and tournament endgames. While in here, you really need to be playing how you would in a real endgame, and you can practice your rotates, getting refreshes, and whatever else you may be having trouble with. And honestly, this is just a good run that I had, so I want to let it play out, but if you want to skip ahead, go ahead and I'll leave the time on screen. Another part of your routine should be 1v1 build fights, where here you should be trying to crank as much as you can. But don't be the player that's just trying to sit hype the entire time. Crank as much as you can, but towards your opponent, and be aggressive. It's also just more fun to play like that. And more importantly, you'll get better playing like that. Now for the main part of your routine, you should be playing ranked Battle Royale. And here you need to be fighting as much as possible. Fighting is the most important thing to be good at, and by taking more fights in ranked, you'll get better much faster. Now it is important that you're fighting consciously, meaning that you're not just autopiloting through the match. Really make sure you're playing your angles correctly, taking good shots on good peaks, and fighting with intention. Ranked is also just a great way to practice your early game, meaning getting the best drop that you can and having the most efficient loot route, which would grant you an advantage for off-spawn fighting. One tip that I have for you all about playing ranked, and I know multiple people have said it, don't care about your rank, just get out there and fight. And over time, you'll become good enough to where you'll hit Unreal naturally. Now for the final main part of this routine, you should be playing scrims. If you're trying to get good on the competitive side of this game, scrims is going to be your best friend. Scrims is the closest thing you can get to a real tournament environment, therefore making it the best practice. And if you can get to a point where you're a master of scrims, you can definitely expect to start qualifying for more tournament finals and possibly start expecting to make earnings. Scrims are very difficult, and if you don't have the basics down, especially when it comes to fighting, tarping, and just boxing up in general, you probably shouldn't be getting into it yet. But for anybody that is interested, I do have an older video where I explain 30 tips on how to get better at scrims. As you can see right there, I got second place, which is good, but that leads me into the last part of this video. Once you've done everything that I've shown in this video, you should be doing VOD review. And that is where you're looking at the games that you've played and seeing what mistakes you made and what you could do better. And by doing VOD review, you will increase your game sense as well as pinpoint certain and specific things you need to work on. It's definitely one of the most underrated tips to improving at this game. Now if you want to know how to actually improve in Fortnite, click this video on the left. And if you want to know how to play every zone, click this video on the right. Thanks for watching. See ya.